You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts. And Emily.
Hello.
And this is episode 12. And I have a ton to talk about, so I'm probably going to take up all your time. So if that's the case, just forgive me because I'm
just talk to me. I have a few things, but
okay.
I need the inspiration as well. So
Okay, good. Well, in a previous episode, I talked about Lodge 49, which is a TV show.
Wait, yes. Did I tell you that I started that?
No, I didn't know.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot we brought it up. So, okay, I started
good.
it.
Good, okay. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued because I saw that it was one of the creators is a writer who I like named Charles Yu. And he wrote a book called How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe.
Wow. Because I think he might have also written Palm Springs, the movie that I recommended last week or the week before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, full circle.
I know. So I'm going to definitely recommend How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and it's the main character is Charles Yu.
Nice.
And he's a time travel technician. And it gets really wacky. And he finds out, like, from his future self how this key to all of the questions that he's hunting down is in this book called How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe.
Great.
And so very meta, but it's good. And we have a copy of it at the library. It's from, I don't know, like 10 years ago. And he's written other books that I haven't read, but having watched those shows, I'm going to go pick up other whatever else he's written. Because
I've been really impressed with, I feel like I've binged a few of his works lately, so I'll have to start some of his books.
Yeah, and I did see Palm Springs, by the way, on your recommendation, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I'm so glad, because I feel like it was one of those where I was like, I laughed so much, and I'm like, maybe I should tone it down, because it like builds expectations, and
right, yeah, you got to be careful,
Yeah, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you never know, because some things like that are so taste specific.
Yes, I thought about that too. Mm-hmm.
Well, another book I have not finished, but I started, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab.
Nice.
And I have read other books by that author. And this one is about this woman who is immortal. Mm-hmm. So this is a fantasy type sci-fi book. But
cool, I'm listening.
So she's immortal, but she, in exchange for that, her curse is that everybody that she meets forgets her.
Oh.
So, like, at the end of the day, and this is kind of, similar to Palm Springs. Anyway, just kind of in the same kind of vein where...
But again, another great little twist.
Yeah. So she can't, like, have a love affair or, whatever, because then they wake up and they don't know who she is.
Oh, my gosh. Because there are so many stories that are like, about people, not so many, but, a person who has lost their memory or.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but I just think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a good twist. So I'm excited to finish that one, see what's going to happen.
And that's The Invisible Life of, what was the name?
Addie LaRue.
Great name also.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So another book that I actually listened to, and I'm super excited because NetGalley, which is where you librarians and people like, I guess, booksellers or whatever, mostly librarians, get their advanced copies of books.
Mm-hmm.
And they now have the option where you can have advanced copies of audiobooks. So that's amazing.
Ooh.
And so I checked one out, or got one called The Multi-Life: Work Less, Create More, and Design a Life That Works for You
Cool.
by Emma Gannon. I was hoping that it would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Not so much.
well, she talks a lot about that, we have this gig economy now, and we have,
Mm-hmm.
where people don't no longer have a job for 45 years and then retire from the same company.
Right, right.
That people have lots of different career changes, and that you have to sometimes have lots of jobs,
Yeah.
otherwise, like
Even
small
all at once. Sure.
part-time things. Yeah. And so that's sort of like where she's starting from, which, we all know that that's the case. She kind of
Yeah.
spends too long making the case that that's how
And
things are.
we're like, we know. We're
Yeah,
living
we
it
know.
right now.
Right. And so, um, and then she's like, and for me, it seems like the gig economy is kind of treacherous, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of accepting that this is how we have to live.
Right.
And so all she's doing is not saying anything really revolutionary, except just here's how you can, maybe be more successful at having a bunch of
I
part-time jobs.
see. Okay.
And she says that that's not what she's doing, but that is what she's doing a little bit. So
Okay.
anyway, I was hoping that that would be something inspirational, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to accept the fact that I'm gonna have to work all these like
I know.
part-time
Just, I
jobs
mean,
just to
it's
make ends meet.
truly working to survive. And yeah, that's something that makes me pretty bitter. And
Exactly.
I'm happy to argue it.
Yeah. So meh.
Yeah,
Not
not ready to accept that.
another thing. Well, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna barrel over you.
Please. Yes, please.
So this is not a book, but another thing that I started that I'm not super excited about. So I haven't watched more of it. Is Taste the Nation with Padma Lakshmi. Have you heard of this?
No, no.
So last time I was talking all about food, but so
Mm-hmm.
this is another food one, obviously. And she's the host of oh that chef competition, Top Chef.
Mm.
That's what it
Okay,
is.
I was like, which
She's
one?
she hosts Top Chef. So
Okay, yes.
yeah, um, it's not very exciting. It's
Really?
yeah, not my favorite food show because
I
she
mean,
doesn't
yeah.
she doesn't seem to have much of a personality, and so
Oh, yeah. And I need a
she's like very
personality.
yeah,
There are a
but that's
lot of
okay.
food shows. You have to stand out.
Exactly. So yeah, I think enough of that one. Okay, but I'll
Didn't
stop
blow
and
you away.
I'll let you interject.
No, I mean, I have, yeah, I haven't really discovered anything new and crazy. A lot of my stuff is kind of, a little bit vintage, I suppose. So we've probably all heard of these things. The one newer thing that I watched is Hamilton, and I know everyone's been talking about it. But I just it was everything I wanted it to be. I think it's a really fun show. I talked to somebody who was upset that, I guess Hamilton isn't the wonderful guy they expected him to be.
I
Um
wondered about that since everybody was loving that show. That
Oh yeah, no. Like I mean, and I kind of said, I was like, well, I went into it sort of aware that, I wasn't gonna fall in love with Alexander Hamilton, but just the
hmm
story. I mean, the story itself is one that I wasn't familiar with. At least, the specifics of it, I guess. I just It was so fun. It's a great show. It's entertaining, it's original, and a blast. So I've been watching and listening to Hamilton. And it's one too that I watched the entire thing all the way through and ended up going back to it. Like I started it again maybe a week later. Yeah, so I'm happy to rewatch it. So that's been fun. And then I watched two oldies that I had never seen before, and people probably think I'm insane, but I watched Sister Act for the first time. And I told you, Crystal, I don't know how I hadn't seen it before. It's like everything I love in a movie, singing, nuns. I'm just kidding. I do love a nun, but yeah, I thought it was so much fun. I forget how hilarious Whoopi Goldberg is. You know,
she's kind of joyless now. That she's all she is like the host of The View.
right. And
which I never watched, but
I don't either. Right. I just, I'll hear about things or see clips or whatever from The View. But yeah, she is just so in her element in this movie and so natural, like just such a natural performer. So she was really lovely to watch. I loved it. And then last night I watched Gremlins, which is so weird. I kind of knew the idea behind it. And it was just a great combination of silly, but then there were a couple moments where I was like, oh, because when I didn't check on the date. It was the 80s, right?
yeah, mid-80s.
Okay, mid 80s. That
Yeah.
would be my guess. But there were a couple of moments where I was kind of like, oh, they went there, and it was just and I kind of kept expecting them to be super gory with it, but yeah, I don't know. It's a kind of a combination of tame for, I think we're really used to seeing a lot of blood and gore in what we
Mm-hmm.
watch. So there's not as much not as much of that, but they're, I don't know, not as politically correct.
Yeah, so you got to be careful with pretty much any movie that's from that era.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know
And the
that's
ratings were
not.
different. The rating system
Yeah,
was different too,
yeah.
so
Oh yeah, I remember watching one of the John Hughes movies when I was a kid, and it was rated PG-13, but there was something that was very rated R included. Anyway, Gremlins was silly and it was fun. And yeah, well, let's go back to you. I feel like I've been talking for a long
okay,
time.
so then the next thing that I watched was I don't know, embarrassing. So there's a show called Down to Earth. It's a new one. It's on Netflix.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
no,
Zac
not
Efron.
embarrassing. Everyone's watching it.
I mean, I guess so, but I've never been a huge Zac Efron
Me
fan.
neither.
And I'm after I watched the whole series, I'm still not a fan.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. It actually, it's about they sort of him and this other guy who's like some sort of fitness guru.
Oh,
They
I didn't
travel
know that
around.
was a part of it. Okay.
Yeah. Um, it was a weird dynamic for one thing. Zac Efron and this like 50-year-old guy. Anyway, it
Oh my goodness.
it
I
was
didn't.
just a little weird.
Well, I'm still interested. Yeah, I wasn't clear on what it is. Is it is it an Anthony Bourdain kind of
Yeah,
show?
it's a a travel show about, but it's about the environment. So
Oh,
so they go to Iceland and see where they're using like the underground what I can't think of what they're called. Like they use steam power basically.
okay, okay.
That's like they harvest, I guess, from beneath the surface.
Sure,
Um,
I'm with you.
yeah, so things like that. They go, all over the world basically, and
Okay.
there's only like 8 or 9 episodes. So I mean, it was diverting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and if you're a super fan of his, then you'll really like it. But
Yeah. No, I
even
mean,
regardless,
no, he was never really my cup of tea, but I'm still interested in checking this out.
yeah, no, it's worth watching. Another show, it's also worth watching if you can do it. It's rough going a little bit. It's called New York Times Presents They Get Brave. It's
Mm-hmm.
on Hulu, and it's a documentary that's follows what's going on or what was going on in New York City during the Corona crisis.
Oh, interesting.
And so they gave all of these doctors and nurses cameras to document their lives and this is at the height of like when they were really in the
in the thick
worst
of
off.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's it's like I said, it's good, but it's hard to watch because it
Yeah,
is we're still living in that world right now, but they were really facing like just a major catastrophe. So
I cannot imagine.
and it puts a human face on what's going on, and especially healthcare workers. I just can't imagine the kind of
Yeah,
stress.
a friend of my fiance, his wife is an ER nurse, and she and a group of nurses went up to New York to work in the hospitals for maybe a specific hospital for a month. And yeah, she came back and was kind of like I just confused and I think disheartened to see that Texas was living life as normal. She just kind
Hmm.
of couldn't believe the two different worlds.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a big disconnect
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
still, and this is it's been a while, right, since she returned back to Texas.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, it definitely, and it reveals all of these very systemic problems with
Mm-hmm.
the healthcare system and that kind of thing. So it raises a lot of questions, but it's also definitely focused on the humanity and the lives of these individuals. So that's good.
Yeah, and that's on Hulu, you said?
It's on Hulu, yeah.
Cool.
And then the last thing that I'll talk about is the one I'm most excited about, and it's a podcast. And I have been super picky about podcasts lately. Like
Yeah,
I'll
I am
start
too.
something and I'll stop it. And anyway,
I will
uh,
too. Like if my mind starts to wander while I'm driving, I'm turning you off.
exactly. So there's a new podcast, and it's got, well, there's a lot to it. It's called Radio Rental,
Okay.
and it's by Payne Lindsay, who um, kind of became podcast famous for Up and Vanished.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he's the guy who basically solved, or started up a cold case that ended up, they led to arrests
Mm-hmm.
for this a murder that was, oh, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was curious about this. This one was a recommendation to me, um, and when I heard it was him, I was like, okay. I listened to all of Up and Vanish, which is a very long, very long mini episode podcast.
Uh-huh.
Um, this one is new, and so there's only like 9 episodes, I think, and it's got Rainn Wilson, uh,
Oh.
and he plays a character called
Um.
Terry Carnation or something like that, and he works in, it's hard to explain because it's like this big conceit. So the podcast is supposedly these scary true stories that are told by people that actually that happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then um, he is what is his name? Rainn Wilson
Mm-hmm.
is an employee in a VHS like video rental store.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot, but
I was gonna say I always love that setting.
yeah. And so and they have lots of sound effects and all this stuff that really makes you feel like you're in this place.
Oh, cool.
And
It's something
radio,
for us to work up to with our
exactly.
videos.
I know. I was feeling very jealous of all their sound effects. But radio rental is that phrase means, it's like a British for going crazy. Like you went radio rental or something.
Oh.
which I've never heard before, but
I was about to say, is that something that the story invented, or is that actually a phrase that they use?
I didn't check, so that's we should confirm that that's
Okay,
actually true.
okay. Next time, folks.
And so basically, like in the first episode, you hear like the door jingle. You go
Mm-hmm.
inside, and he's like, "Oh, hello, welcome to Radio Rental, the movie,
Mm-hmm.
whatever." And he says that he's got these special tapes of these true stories,
Uh-huh.
and he'll play them for you, um, and then you discuss it or whatever. And so the first one, I just did not know what I was getting into, but
So is it like you are the customer
you're the
that's walking?
customer, yeah.
Okay, okay, I see, I see.
And so he's going to play these tapes for you if you're interested.
Okay, that's
And
cool.
and then it cuts to like actual people just telling a story that happened to them, and
Cool.
they're spooky.
Ooh,
Yes, I'm telling you, you're gonna love this.
I am
And
about to
so,
cue it up right now.
and in the first episode, um, the person who's telling the story, well, there's two stories in the episode. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is about a guy who, when he was younger, was on an international flight, and he tells it very much like he gives the details as they happen. So it's not like um, anyway, it's a famous incident, but you don't know that
Oh,
until
cool.
later.
Yeah, it's from his perspective and you don't
Yes,
know what it's leading to. Yeah,
yeah.
I love that.
So he's a young kid on a flight, and he and his brother, his dad's sitting somewhere else, and he and his brother are like right in the middle of the plane,
Mm-hmm.
and they smell sulfur like matches.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not able to smoke on a plane by this point. We've
Right,
lost.
right. So that's unusual.
Yeah, so they're trying to figure out where that's going on, and then they hear somebody start to like say no, 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 and like getting louder and louder and louder, and
Uh-huh.
they don't know where it's coming from or why, but it's just like they are freaking out. They're like, well, how do we, how do we? There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. We're on this plane,
Oh my gosh.
and it's just
I'm
like
already on the edge of my seat, just
I
for
know,
the record.
and so so everybody's hearing this no, no, in the background,
Uh-huh.
and then this guy walks by, and the anyway, it, I guess I'm just gonna spoil this one. So I'm
Go
letting
for it.
everybody know I'm gonna spoil part of the story, but this is gonna make you want to go
Yeah,
and
I was gonna say I'll
listen to
I'll
it.
I'll go back.
Yeah, you're gonna want to listen to it, but um, so they see this guy, and he's coming down the aisle, and he's like super calm. He's
Mm-hmm.
really tall and has like long hair, and the kids are like, okay, this guy's too calm. Everybody, this person is screaming, and this guy's doing nothing,
Right.
and or just standing there. And then the passengers like attack him,
What?
and yeah, and they bring him down. They're like the people like they put him in a seat, and like all these people just pile on to hold him down, and like somebody's got him by the hair
Oh
so
my
that they're holding him in
gosh.
place, and the flight attendant is like screaming, and
Oh my gosh.
the pilot comes on and says um, that they're going to be escorted by fighter jets, and that they're going to be diverted. They were like, I think it was Paris to Miami,
Uh-huh.
and they're going to be diverted, and they're going to land in Boston. And the guy's like, yeah, and all the little kids were so excited about the fighter jets that they went to the windows to see. But
Oh my goodness.
the fight, the guy is realizing that the fighter jets are there to shoot them down if it's a terrorist attack. And
Yep.
so anyway, so this is all from this kid's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out he was on the flight with the shoe bomber.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
was like, wait, what story is this? What story is this?
yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
the guy, anyway, and so he gives more details and all of that, but yeah, it,
What?
very well told, and
Yeah.
yeah.
This is super up my alley. I'm very excited.
I know. And then I won't give much detail about the second story that's in the first episode, but I thought it was too chilling to skip. And
Ooh, okay.
it's this guy who um, receives a text message from random number he doesn't
Already.
recognize. Yeah,
Already.
and it's a picture, and it's like I never heard of this, but apparently it's a thing. It's a picture of Bunny, Flapjack Bunny. So, or
Uh-huh.
like a rabbit with a pancake on its head, basically.
What?
And this is a thing. Like,
I was about to be like, this is the thing you were just referring to.
so apparently this is something that exists. So, but the guy's like intrigued, you know. He's like, okay, um, and I'll send them a picture back, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, doing it as, sort of like, I mean, it's a funny thing to be like,
Yeah.
see what this person's going to do.
Uh-huh.
So he sends them something, and he's afraid that they're going to be like, who is this? Why, like if it's
Yeah.
sent as a mistake.
Uh-huh.
And so for several months, every
Oh my
few
gosh.
weeks, he gets a message, and then he sends one back, and they like have
And
this.
it's always something different, or
Yeah, it's always a picture
okay.
and nothing else.
And do the pictures look like, personally taken photos, and it's not like some stock photo of a rabbit or
Right. No,
okay.
he thinks that the person's taking the pictures,
Okay. Okay.
and they're not professionally done or anything.
Okay.
And then he like gets a message that's so he's out in California, I think, and he gets a message that's a picture of like you're leaving Georgia and entering Alabama or something.
Uh-huh.
And then he gets another one that's like you're entering Texas, and then gets another one like, anyway, it's getting closer and closer to
To
him.
where? Oh no.
And so I'll leave it there.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, so
Beautifully done.
I'm super intrigued by this whole thing, and it just got started. So while there's, it's still early days or whatever,
Right,
but
right.
there's already a few. I can tell this is going to be one that I'm going to be like waiting for the
When
next one
yeah,
to
I was
come.
about to say I can't wait to go home so I can listen to it.
The like interstitial stuff with Rainn Wilson is a little silly. I have to
Yeah.
say that. It's pretty cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
Like at one point, like the tape gets stuck, quote unquote, and he's got
Uh-huh.
to like, how that very particular sound of a VHS tape,
Yes.
like anyway. So that, and there's like a real '80s type electronic soundtrack,
Uh-huh.
music that goes along with it. So I mean, it does kind of I don't know, lighten the mood, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was okay, so I don't know. I
So
guess
you
that's
listen to this,
nice.
yeah, you listen to a creepy story, and then it's like, okay, I can take a breath and
Yeah,
listen to
I
Rainn Wilson.
heard Rainn Wilson's voice. I can
Yeah,
relax now.
exactly. Because we know he's not serious. So,
Right, right.
but anyway, so
He's Dwight.
that's Radio Rental is the name of that, and definitely
Amazing.
recommend that one. And that's all I have.
Yeah. I have something that's making me happy this week.
Oh, good. We haven't done that in a couple of weeks.
Well, and this is also a vintage. It's not a new discovery, but it's making me so happy. I have been listening to sort of rediscovered Mama Cass, and I've been listening to her hits. The album is called Mama's Big Ones, which I just really love that title. We've all heard, blah blah blah's greatest hits, but I love Mama's Big Ones. And yeah, I don't know, I just adore her. Her voice is one of my favorite voices. She's just the queen of catchy songs, if you ask me. So that's been yeah, sort of an upbeat piece of life right now. And the other thing that's made me happy is I got to wear a princess dress at work today. So beat that. I'm just kidding.
Complete with tiara.
Complete with tiara, guys.
I mean,
and it was a massive princess dress.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the
like
poofiest.
yeah, it is the quintessential princess dress.
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to dress up like a fairy, so.
Yep. It's good times.
Right. We have very silly jobs sometimes. But hey, it's for the kids, I mean.
For the kids, for the children.
It's not for us. We don't get anything out of that at all.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, the thing that made me happy this week or anything.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's going to wrap us up, and we will.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you in a week. Or
bye, guys.
Talk to you in a week. Bye.
Bye.
Afraid you missed one of our scintillating selections? Check out wakelet.com and you'll find a collection of all of the titles that we have mentioned on our podcast.